Hi there, welcome to the Gardens and Graveyard channel. My name is Charisma and today we're meeting in the garden and we are going to cut back our straw flowers. So I grew straw flowers this year because I wanted to have a large amount of dried flowers that I can use in flower arrangements over the winter. So straw flowers is one of my main flowers that I grew. I'm also growing amaranth, which is not ready to harvest, and chocolate flowers, which are also not ready to harvest. I do have some poppy seed heads that we can harvest today and some more celine that we can harvest and dry. So I'm really excited to show you how I do this. These straw flowers are a cut and come again flower, which means I will cut off the flowers that I have now and leave growth on the stem, and I should get another flush of flowers over the summer. So I should at least have one more harvest, maybe even two, which would be really great. So let me show you. These are the straw flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them and I'll show you a little bit more detail of what I'm doing. So now that I've cut these flowers, the first thing I'm going to do is take off all their leaves because I don't need those for drying purposes. They're just gonna shrivel up anyways, and they're not necessary to have. All right, so then the next thing we're going to look at is there's quite a different range of how these flowers are opened. This flower is beyond where you want it to be when you harvest. See how much pollen you can see in that flower? This flower is also just a little bit beyond where you want it to be. This flower with the center is closed and there's just 4 or 5 layers of petals open. This is a really good stage. This one may be a little bit beyond, but you notice you can't see the pollen, so it should be okay. This one is pretty much perfect with just 2 or 3 petals opened. Of course, these little tiny ones that came with it may or may not dry. They might just rot. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and hang these upside down to dry. And we'll see what happens with these ones that are kind of blown out and the buds. I've never dried straw flowers before, so I'm not familiar with exactly what needs to happen. I've just been doing research, and my understanding is that once the pollen has been opened up and the bees have been utilizing it, it's called blown open, and basically it just the flower has already gone past its prime condition for dried flowers. That doesn't mean we can't try, right? So I'm going to go ahead and harvest all of the dried flowers, or all of the straw flowers, and I'll show you what the plants look like after I'm done. All right, well, unfortunately, my video cut out and I did not get footage of showing you how I strip the stems of all foliage. We don't want any leaves on the stems when we dry them. And I was showing you the wiggle test, which I think I could still show you in just a moment. And then I also cut back some poppies, and I showed you the difference between the seed head and the regular, or the bud, and that video didn't work out either. So I'm just gonna show you that again, kind of better something than nothing, I think. And I wanted to mention that I checked on the Celine, which I mentioned earlier in the video, and it's not really ready to be cut for dried flowers. So let's go over the poppies real quick, then we'll pop into the greenhouse and I'll show you how I'm gonna dry them for the night, and then tomorrow or the next day we'll be setting up a cut flower drying station that's in a dark, cool space that's out of the wind, and they can dry there for a good long time until they're fully dry. So here with the poppies, I've already cut the seed heads, so I'll show you what those look like in a moment. But on the plant, we have these buds that kind of are shaped like an egg, and they're drooping down like this. This one's not quite drooping down yet because it won't, it'll fill up and droop down before it opens. Well, this one you can kind of see it's starting to split. Oops, starting to split a little bit right here. In the next day or so, all of these will open up to full poppy flowers. The poppy seed heads look like this, more like a round ball, and they've got this kind of flower pattern on it. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Okay. This is the seed head. This is not dried. If it was dry and I did this, you would hear a rattle because it would be full of dry seeds. Because it's so early in the season and I want to have a lot of flowers on that plant, I went ahead and harvested the poppy seed heads that I have on there green. And they should dry, they just might not last as long as the poppy seed heads that dry on the plant. All right, so then on this little tray, I also have some straw flowers that didn't have very big stems because I wanted to make sure that the plant, there's a lot of buds on that plant. So I left the buds to open up a little bit more. These can be dried upside down just like this. You can also put a pin through here, like a safety pin or a sewing pin. Put it through the bottom of the stem right here, and then attach that to a string to hang upside down. This is celosia. This is the pink flamingo celosia. The plants are really tiny and squatty, and they needed to be pinched back, but there were so many sweet little tiny blooms on it that I went ahead and saved all the blooms, and I'm going to dry those and they can be used. Hopefully, and like this one is a little bit gone. See how dark it is? Might be, once it dries, that will probably all fall out. So we'll see what happens. But I wanted to maybe potentially save those, and then hopefully the plant will get bigger. So what I was showing you in the video that didn't work is you want to harvest your straw flower when it's about like this. Just a few petals have been opened and the center is still really closed. That's the ideal way to harvest. The other thing that you can look at to help you determine if it's ready to harvest or not is to do the wiggle test. See how strong that seed head is, or the flower is on that stem. I mean, yes, it does wiggle a little bit, but it should have some flex. Let's show you over here. For example, this one, if I do the wiggle test, look at how much flex that has. That lets me know this seed head, or this, wow, I keep calling them seed heads, this stem is not ready for harvest. All right, let me just show you what I did for the ones that have longer stems. They all have kind of like a little branching. So I just used this bench to hang the flowers. So you can see them all hanging up right here. And I also pulled a couple of amaranth and a chocolate flower that's a little immature. And then I have these seed heads, the poppy seed heads. So yeah, this system would work just fine if it was in a dark room rather than in the glass greenhouse. So we are not going to leave them in here, but overnight it'll be fine. Yeah, so that's what I did for harvesting the cut flowers. I did grab a bunch of celine, and you see how like weak they kind of are. I just don't have a lot of confidence that they're going to dry as well as I want them to. So we're gonna wait and let the rest of those, they're actually right out that way, dry a little bit more. The next flowers that I'll probably harvest are these amaranth, but I definitely want to have a good dark space for them to hang, because they will hold their color really well if we have them somewhere dark to dry. If I leave them in the light, they fade out pretty significantly. And really I just want to pinch them back so that all these little tiny ones can have some energy and grow. Potentially these plants get quite large, but they started flowering so early that I just kind of want to cut off these early flowers and see how much growth I could get out of them over the summer. As a quick example, I threw one in a little pot all by itself, and would you look at this thing? It's huge. It is so beautiful, and it's been just like a real joy to see it in here. Definitely not ideal for the plant, but super fun to watch. Okay, so we've got chocolate flower coming on, and still really immature, but this will make a beautiful cut flower before too long. And we still have plenty of straw flowers hanging out here, and then I cut some back quite a bit, so they'll have potential to create more flowers. And then I was noticing my globe amaranth is just starting to bloom. Over here, oh, let's get over here. Look at how cute they are. It's so adorable. Little white globe amaranths. This is also a really fantastic cut flower. So I'm going to let that grow a little bit more, and we'll be able to harvest those too. Here's the pink flamingo celosia. You can see how it's flowering so close to the bottom of this little tiny plant. Look how tiny the plants are. They really want to flower, but I really want them to grow up a little bit. That is going to do it for today's video. I just wanted to show you how I am drying these cut flowers. This whole cut flower experience or experiment is supposed to just be about creating dried flowers for the fall and winter flower arrangements. So I'm really excited to have done that. It's been a fairly good harvest so far. It's the middle of July, so you know, here's hoping over the next couple of months I'll have an even bigger harvest, but we shall see. Anyways, I hope that you are celebrating your life, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.